All right, everybody, we are welcoming to the show for the first time the band Amongst the Giants. We've got Brian, Marco, and Blaze on the phone, and we are chatting about the new record called Obscene, which just dropped on Rockfest Records. How's it going, guys?
Doing good, man.
What's up?
Sweet.
Thanks so much for having us on your show.
Oh, absolutely. I'm super stoked. Of course, now Marco may not remember this, but I've met Marco one time because he came in, I believe, with Zana to play kind of some guitar to back her up for an in-studio performance.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. What's up, man? That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a while back. Now, it feels like it's longer ago than it probably was. But yeah, that was a fun time. So it's good to be able to chat with you again, man.
A couple months back. That was right after Summer Rock Fest.
Yes, it was. So yeah, it was all good. It was fun to get to meet you. And of course, Anna was fun to be able to hang out with for a little bit. And all that was good. So with the new record, Obscene, just having gotten dropped, it seems like you guys are already getting a lot of traction like on Spotify and whatnot. How do you guys feel about the record?
We are extremely excited. We are very, we're really surprised a little bit at how things kind of went down. I think as far as like the listeners and people were really just enjoying the record, and we actually just did a Facebook status asking like what song was like your favorite. And what I've been noticing is pretty cool. People are all saying different songs, like it's been really, really cool. Cause I'm like, okay, so people are really, they're enjoying this record as a whole. And that's all we wanted, that's all we want.
Nice.
Yeah. It's so cool to see what everybody's opinions of it are. Cause everybody's like, they like it, but they all have different reasons why they like it, which I think is super cool.
It's kind of crazy because like we're checking the streams and stuff like that every couple of days, and we all stayed up for the album release and everything like that. And obviously not going to see like anything from that, like any numbers from that, because it's midnight that night, whatever. But then like we wake up like the next 2 days, whatever, like 2 days later, we have like 10,000 streams on Spotify, and we're just like, holy cow, like where'd that come from?
Yeah, things happen pretty fast.
Nice.
It's been amazing. So thank you guys so much to everybody who's listening to the album and streaming it and bought it.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
It means a lot.
So for most people, you guys are a brand new band. I mean, you guys got signed to Rockfest Records right at its inception. And of course, some people may know, but Blaze, your dad is the lead singer for Seventh Day Slumber, and you play drums in Seventh Day Slumber as well. So there is that connection there. But what should people know about you guys as a band? Like, where did you guys come from before this record? Like, how did you guys get together and all that good stuff?
Yeah, Marco or Brian, if y'all want to answer that question.
Basically, this is Marco, by the way. So basically, me and Brian have been playing music together for a really, really, really long time. We've been playing together since I was about 12 years old. I'm 23 years old now. That was actually before I actually knew how to play guitar, too. So we've been playing pretty much before I knew how to actually play. We grew up playing in bands together, playing worship together our whole lives. And pretty much, I think last year, we had been sitting on some music that we wrote for quite a while. Not the whole record was finished, yet, but at that point, we didn't really know it was going to be a full record. Mm-hmm. We were just sort of writing because we wanted to write, and we knew eventually we wanted to make a band, a metal band. So I basically told Brian, like, dude, let's just do it. I know Jeremy Holderfield, guitar player for Seven Day Slumber, was interested in, recording our music. We talked about it for a very long time. I finally just said, Brian, let's just do it, man. Let's bite the bullet. Let's whatever it costs, let's do it, let's make it happen. And originally it was going to be a 4-song EP. Mm-hmm. So we recorded the 4 songs in December of last year. And then Joseph caught wind of it and listened to it and said that he really, really liked it, and then offered to sign us. Pretty much things just started moving forward from there. The Blaze joined the band pretty shortly afterwards, and then me and Brian went on City Rock Fest to help Seventh Day Slumber. I was filling in for Jeremy, and then Brian was doing lights. And then, the next tour, Summer Rock Fest, was our very first tour as a band, so.
You guys have it hard, man.
Things are moving pretty fast, man. The way things are moving, it's been less than a year and things are moving so fast.
Gee whiz, guys, that is insane. So it's like you guys, your first tour is Summer Rock Fest tour, which is quite possibly, I guess is the biggest touring festival as it is for Christian rock. And then you guys get signed to a brand new label. While it is a brand new label, it's also a sub label of Capital Christian. It must stink to be you guys.
Yeah, totally. No.
It's crazy.
It's awesome. We're really excited.
Nice. Where would you say you guys drew inspiration from for this record? I mean, it's got a different vibe than a lot of the other metal records that come across my desk, and some of it I have a hard time pinpointing, but where would you say you guys drew inspiration from for this?
Honestly,
I'd love for all of us to answer this one.
Yes. Oh, so would I.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's so much inspiration behind it. Like, I mean, if we're talking musically, like, there's a couple songs that, like, I can tell you parts where they're pretty much inspired by, like, multiple bands. Like, we've got inspirations from As I Lay Dying. We've got inspirations from, like, Bring Me the Horizon. We got some August Burns Red inspirations. Some Under Oath vibes and stuff like that. And like, it just happens to be a lot of the bands that we listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, especially because a lot of the music for me was really inspired by August Burns Red, and then Between the Buried and Me. Oh, Sleeper as well was a big one. Silent Planet. A couple of those bands that, you know, that really inspired me, you know, just growing up, and things that I listened to on my own time and I'm inspired by, you know, weekly. I really, really wanted to create something that, you know, sometimes I find myself purposely not learning songs so I can't rip them off.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I'll listen to a song, and it's funny because we can go through the record and I can tell you what parts were inspired by what.
I think pretty much what Marco and Brian said, like the music aspect of it has been inspired by so many different people, and it's even including the bands that we've gotten the chance to tour with, which is really cool. There's so many bands that we've looked up to for years and even toured with. But lyrically, I think it was inspired from all kinds of stuff we see going on in the world, like Too Late, for example, or just personal experiences that we've had. And I just think it's so cool to like look back on it and see where we had this inspiration from. Like Obscene, I actually wrote that about like my struggle that I've had with porn. And I feel like I wanted to do something that could relate to somebody and show them that they're not the only person that's ever dealt with that, or that they're not the only one dealing with it right now. But also let them know that there's a way out and that you can make it through that. So I think it's cool just looking back and seeing where all the inspiration came from musically and lyrically. It's just super cool. And then to see that it's actually relating with people is even cooler.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say now that the album has been out for just a little bit? You guys have obviously gotten some positive feedback. What would you say has been the feedback that you guys have received that's been the most surprising?
I mean, we've gotten like some comments that have said like, oh man, I wasn't a believer in this before, but now like, you know, now that I've listened to it, I am, and whatever, like just things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a lot. I don't know.
There's a lot of honest.
No, I was gonna say I think I agree with Brian on that. I think those have been like the coolest or craziest feedback that we've gotten on that. I think it's so cool to see that something that we wrote or that God wrote through us has actually been used to already touch somebody. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, like for me, like I had some some people from home, you know, like who were kind of my acquaintances, were kind of my friends, you know, who would listen to it. And the common denominator is, dude, I am really surprised at how good this sounds. And I'm like, wow, thanks, man. Like, wow, thanks, man.
True.
You know, we only put like hundreds of hours into it, you know?
Right.
If people are pleasantly surprised by it, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, I am perfectly okay with that. You know, the reaction overall has been really, really great. And people have really they've been saying that they've been enjoying it, and we love talking to them about it. We just got another picture of the other day of someone who tattooed the Amongst the Giants symbol on their body. So there's that. You know?
Those are crazy. There's not even two of those.
Yeah.
That's insane to think that somebody likes our music enough to put our band on their body forever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the guys got it tattooed like before the album even came out. It was like during pre-order.
Yep.
So like, what if he doesn't like the rest of the album?
Yeah, that is an ink of faith right there.
Of course he did. So thank the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, yes, he did. But
Oh my goodness. Well, now, I mean, then that kind of brings to mind something else. I mean, most bands, when they've done like a big pre-order and kind of a push for people to buy the album ahead of time, I would say it feels at least like most of the time that's a band that has already had something out, so people kind of have a good reference for it. But it sounds like for the most part, at least, you guys had kind of been able to garner those pre-orders off of people that I guess had seen you live or had heard kind of a track that was released a little bit early. Do you think that went pretty well considering that was the setup for this?
Yeah,
for sure. A lot of the people who pre-ordered were people that saw us on Summer Rock Fest.
Cool. Now, I know that for a lot of people, it's hard for audiences sometimes to wrap their head around the fact that you guys have as full of a sound as you have with only 3 members. Is that at all difficult to replicate on stage?
Yeah, I think having such amazing musicians like Marco and like screaming like Brian definitely helps to make up that sound.
Yeah, on Summer Rock Fest, we had Ken playing with us from 7th December, and he's a phenomenal bass player. So with the 4 of us, we were definitely able to to do it and pull it off and make it sound good. We definitely put a lot of rehearsal into it. Personally, we live in different states. Like me and Brian live in Florida. Blaze lives in Tennessee. We got together, I want to say about 2 weeks or so before Summer Rock Fest and practice every single day. We're like, we need to make sure that this sounds the way it needs to sound. And, we each individually put in work to make it sound good and make it come across live, because we knew that this was going to be our first tour and we needed to come out swinging.
And we're going to do the same thing on the next tour.
Nice. Very cool. So that brings to mind something else. I mean, you guys are already on tap to do the next City Rock Fest tour that's coming up next, which will be kicking off next year. Also a really incredible lineup. Are you guys pretty excited about that?
Oh, yeah, we're so excited for that.
So excited.
So now I know that this is kind of a loaded question because Blaze, for one, you're in one of the other bands, Seventh Day Slumber. But beyond that, maybe as a given, who are you guys most excited to be on tour with this time?
Oh man, that's a hard question. I'm really excited to be on tour with all of these bands. We've been friends with The Protest, Random Hero, and Zana for the longest time. But Righteous Vendetta, we haven't ever gotten the chance to tour with them. So I'm super excited to meet them and to be able to see them play live. I think it's going to be really cool.
It's going to be fun.
I kind of second that. Like, they're the only band that we haven't really hung out with or anything like that. So probably Righteous Vendetta.
Cool. Yeah, I like it, guys. I like it. Well, now you guys have a single that's already kind of hitting radio pretty good right off the bat called Too Late. That's on the new record. Talk to us a little bit about that song and kind of what it means to you guys.
Yeah, Marco, if you want to tell us about it.
Yeah, man. So the song was inspired by, pretty much just tragedy. What kind of spurred it on was not too long prior to, the song's, I guess, inception, like the first part writing of the song, was the Stoneman Douglas shooting in Parkland.
Mm-hmm.
And that is about 15 minutes away from where me and Brian live. This is something that, not many people know about yet. My sisters were in school. They didn't go to Parkland, but they were in a school in the county. And when that happened, all schools in the county went on lockdown and nobody knew what was going on. There was a lot of fear involved. I remember getting the text saying that, there's an active shooter around, the Broward County School District. And, I started freaking out. I was like, what the heck is going on? I know my sisters are in there. But basically, the song was inspired by, that tragedy and the fact that it happens so much. I think since then there's been multiple shootings since then,
mm-hmm.
That were considered mass shootings here in America. And we really wanted to create something that could kind of highlight not just the tragedy, but the fact that we're being desensitized by the tragedy because of the fact that it's happening so much.
Right.
And that it's kind of a commentary on pretty much the state of what we live in,
mm-hmm.
in America. It's like we're in an America where tragedy is almost, a commonplace, and to the point where the visceral reaction we usually have when something horrible happens is, kind of diminished by the fact that it happens so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I felt we really needed to analyze about ourselves. So that's what that song is pretty much about.
Nice. And I mean, I don't think there are any songs on the record that are light or slow per se, but I guess that one might be, maybe the most accessible out of all of them. I guess it has the most amount of clean vocal on it. Was there a specific reason for that, or is that just kind of how it worked for you guys?
It came out that way, but we wanted to, I think we experimented with different takes of that,
Yeah, we actually had a few different versions of it. That one was just the one that we liked the best.
That one was definitely rewritten the most.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Cool. That is heavy, guys. I mean, that's I think that's an important thing to discuss. And it's kind of interesting because I think everybody nowadays kind of feels like as soon as you bring that up, that there's like a political discussion to be had. And maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But it's interesting that you guys were able to kind of look at that and kind of be able to have something to address that didn't involve the political aspects of it. And I think that that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
The other song that we're going to play off the record is the title track, Obscene, which of course features Zana, who is a label mate of you guys. How did that song come about, and kind of what is the meaning behind that one?
Oh yeah, this is Blaze, by the way. That's kind of a song that I wrote about just like the struggle with porn and how it can just destroy your life if you let it go too far. And it just talks about pretty much how it distorts the meaning of love and like what it really is. And it gives us this false idea of what it actually is. And then in the second verse, it actually switches to porn talking to you and talking about how you'll never escape out of it and how you'll never be free from its grip. And then later in the song, it talks about how like just breaking free from it, and talking about how it's not too late to get out of this grip and that you're never too far gone to actually like get out of this. So I think it's cool. Like it talks about like being in the like, trenches and everything. But I'm also talking about redemption. So I think that's really cool, especially the fact that Donna was able to feature on it too, and that made the song 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Now, how did that conversation go? I mean, because it seems like for me, if I said, "Hey, I've got a song. This is what it's about. Will you be a guest vocal on it?" That feels like an awkward conversation to me.
Yeah, I remember because I think we were sitting in the bus, and I just finished writing that part, and I was like, man, I think it'd be really cool if we had like a female guest vocalist sing that part. And and we had obviously had Zana on the record label with us, so I was like, man, that would be awesome if she would be willing to sing on there. So I talked to my dad because he has some connections with her and the label owner.
Yeah.
So he called her and was like, hey, would you by any chance want to feature on the Most Giant song? And kind of just explained what it was and everything, and she was down for me. She's like, man, I'm all for that. Just let me know when and where, and I'll do it.
I'm glad that worked out. I think that does add something different to the song, most definitely than it would have had otherwise. And of course, she's a great vocalist, and it's kind of cool to have that vocal variety on there, especially for a song that it adds something thematically more than just like, oh, okay, there's somebody else. I mean, it's nice to be able to have that there. That's really cool. I like that. Now,
I just say right now, it was scary watching her do that live. Watching the stream.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah, the first time I heard the record, I mean, I'd heard her stuff when she was in her previous band, and there wasn't as much screaming in that. And when I first got a chance to hear Red for War, I was like, whoa, she really brought it this time.
Yeah, she's an amazing vocalist.
Yeah, it's cool. That's cool. It's funny because every time I hear like a female vocal that can go really kind of growly and like that and whatnot, I remember going to go see, I think it was Zayo back when like they were still fairly new.
Yeah.
And we were standing outside a club, and there was a band that was very briefly on Solid State Records called Still Breathing, and it was like they had a female vocalist, but she sounded basically like Scott from Zayo. And we were it was me and some other people outside the club trying to get in. We hadn't gotten to the front of the line yet, but you could hear the music, and Still Breathing was already playing, and somebody was like, oh man, did Zayo go on already? I'm like, no, they're the headliner, they're not on already. And they're like, well, who is that? I'm like, well, you're not going to believe this, but that's a girl-fronted band called Still Breathing. They're like, no way. And then we got in there like, oh my goodness, how does that happen?
That's awesome.
So that's where my head goes every time, but it's good stuff though. Good stuff. Now, speaking of things that maybe are slightly unexpected, one of the things that you guys have teased on your Facebook is something that is very near and dear to my heart, which is hot sauce. Now, how did this come about?
We have this is Brian, by the way. We have a couple of friends from Colorado who had gone to our church many years ago back in Florida, and they moved to Colorado, and at some point just started developing hot sauce, just, I guess, out of a hobby, and then started doing it as a business.
Uh-huh.
So we went and saw them, and when we, on the Summer Rock Fest tour, we went into Colorado Springs, and we're like, hey, we're going to be in Colorado if you guys want to come by and come check out the set and all that. And they're like, yeah, for sure. We haven't seen you guys in years. So, we got to hang out with them, got to see them and whatnot. And he had said, like, if you want, like, I can put y'all's logo on my hot sauce stuff, like just like for 40 units or whatever, and just get like free advertising. You know, just sell it to whoever, and you'll get free advertising and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, that'd be sick. So that's where we're at now. We just got the shipment in last week, and we have hot sauce available.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Now, tell me this. Now, are all three of you guys into hot sauce, or is this just a coincidental thing?
Oh, man.
Funny thing is,
hot sauce is my life.
Funny thing is, I'm not. Like, I'm generally not, but I tasted it, and it really isn't, like, unbearable for me.
Okay.
You know, I'm usually like not someone who like does spicy. Like I'm usually someone who sticks to like the medium or the buffalo type side. But like when it goes hot, I'm just like, no, I stay away from that. No, I mean, this one's good. Nice.
Well, here's a random trivia question for you that kind of sort of ties in. Are you aware of a specific hot sauce that's like got big, wide distribution that is made and curated by the lead singer of a mainstream punk rock band?
No.
It's one of my favorites, and I did not know that this was in any way connected to this band when I first started trying this, but there is a hot sauce called Gringo Bandito, and it is made by the lead singer of The Offspring, and it is really good.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to try that.
Yeah, it's like I buy it at Kroger. And I just randomly saw it. I'm like, and I think it was on sale one day. I'm like, well, that looks interesting enough to try. And Gringo Bandito, that sounds kind of fun. Sure, why not? And I got it. I was like, this is really good. And then somehow, I don't even remember how it came up. I think I heard like an interview clip later on. It was like, oh yeah, that's the, like, oh, you've got a hot sauce. What is it called? A Gringo Bandito. I'm like, say what? So yeah, good stuff.
I did not know the singer of The Offspring had hot sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess everyone's got to have a hobby. I don't know how much money he banks off of that, but still, I mean, hey, it's kind of cool. I mean, there's a cool factor to that. So cool. Now, so all three of you guys have tried this hot sauce. And have you guys gotten any fan reaction or people who have bought it who have given you any sort of feedback on it?
Not
quite yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be curious to see how that goes over, because I think you guys should just make that your thing. That seems like something you should have with you on tour for sure, just because nobody else is going to have hot sauce on their table.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Especially if the venue has food, then it's just a bonus.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, is there anything else that you guys want to throw out? Oh, I did forget about this, though. When we were talking about Obscene, you guys are working on, or at least that there's going to be a music video for that. Where are you guys in the stages for that?
Right now we're just kind of talking about like the plan and everything for it, like the plot for the story, but we're definitely going to have that. We're definitely going to be recording that in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Okay.
So we're really excited for that. We cannot wait for you guys to see it.
Nice. Very cool. Cool. Now, is there anything else that you guys want to throw out there that we haven't chatted about yet that you guys want people to know, either about the record or things that you guys have coming up?
I would just say to make sure to follow us on all social medias at Amongst the Giants. And then you can go get our physical CD at amongstthegiants.com, along with some other cool merch there. So make sure to go check out all of our social media and follow us to keep up to date with all of the stuff that we have planned for the tour, music videos, all that cool stuff. But yeah, just make sure to go check us out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I always like to end interviews with this one question, which I always find is the most revealing question of an interview. And I want this from each of you guys. So just make sure when you answer to kind of identify yourself up front so we know who to tag with this. Even though all three of you guys are in a band that's like a metal band, you guys just dropped a new album, which is just totally sick and it's going over really well. You guys have already had big touring experience, all that great stuff. From each of you, what is the most un-rock and roll thing about you?
Oh man,
this is Blaze. I would say, I don't know if this is the least rock and roll thing about me, but I play a lot of video games, so I don't know how that would go, but I'd say that's probably one of the most un-rocker things about me.
Okay, what is the most un-rock and roll video game that you play?
Ooh, probably Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft.
I drive the speed limit and I'm very careful when I drive.
Okay. All right. But see, that's admirable, though, because you will have more money left in your pocket at the end of the day than those of us who may get a speed ticket every now and then. So, I mean, that's good.
That is true.
I guess for me, this is Brian. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to like comic books and comic book movies and all that stuff. You know, I love Marvel and DC comics. I guess that's the big thing with me.
Okay. Well, along those lines, just as a follow-up question, what do you think is the most underrated comic book movie that is out currently?
Underrated comic book that's out currently.
So like you left the theater and you're like, that was really cool. And everyone else just is bagging on it. But you're like, but I thought it was good.
You know, this is going to sound really nerdy because this goes along with video games too. But from what I haven't read it yet, but from what I've heard, there's a really good Sonic the Hedgehog comic book that's out right now.
Okay.
I think he asked for a movie.
But the book's good too. But yeah, I definitely was kind of gearing it towards the movies. But I definitely did not see the Sonic the Hedgehog comic coming through though. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it like just came out like a month ago or something like that.
All right, cool. Well, the next time we talk to you guys, we'll do a follow up and see if you've read it yet and get your take on it.
So for me, this is Marco. The things that come to mind immediately. My favorite color is purple,
Okay.
and I love musicals.
You love musicals. Awesome. I like musicals too, but that was I think that was the household that I grew up
It's a
in.
very not rock and roll thing.
Yeah. Oh,
I
definitely.
It's a very not rock and roll thing, but I love musicals.
All right. What's like a top 3 musicals for you?
Oh man, I really like Hair.
Mm-hmm.
I like Hair a lot. I fell in love with that kind of, what's it called? When I was in high school, I saw my brother play in it. And I love that musical ever since. And I know this is also a movie, but I really like The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
The Wedding Singer is really, really cool.
Nice.
Another one your brother's in.
Yeah, it's another one my brother was in. But this other one, I'm trying to remember what it was called. I want to say it's an older one. Into the Woods.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And of course, they did a movie version of that not too long ago. Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. I can get down with that. Cool. Well, sweet deal. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been fun chatting about the new record, and I'm sure that we'll have more to talk about the next time we chat. And of course, I know a lot of people are going to get to see you on the next City Rock Fest tour, and I hope a lot of people check out the record and enjoy it. And man, just thanks, guys. It was a fun time.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.